put it here so we can.
Hey y'all, welcome to the Poly Pimps podcast. Tonight we are in the same building.
Hello everybody, what's
We
going
are
on?
here.
The Poly Pimps are here with you.
Yes, we're here live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Facebook,
And remember to share the live. So should we
toast
to be in the same building tonight?
Yeah, because I had to fly in.
She took her flight in pretty early today, so
yes,
I am very excited.
Came up here to the north. Came to the north.
To the north side.
Yeah. So
the North Pole.
Thank you for coming. I know most of you are eagerly awaiting the presidential debate. Not me. I already know what they're about to say. So thank you for joining us, since this is like the debate of the year, in my opinion. So
yes,
and we're gonna have a guest jump in at some point. Hey, Miquan.
Yes.
Miquan.
Oh, love you too. Thank you. We love you back.
So tonight we're going to be talking about the future of polyamory, what that looks like.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you like my pimp-tastic hat?
I feel like I should have a hat too,
so we can
be pimping
together. I feel like I'm getting into character. So
yes.
Yeah.
Pimping ain't easy.
It ain't. So the future of polyamory, what does that look like? I've been thinking about it a lot, because living this way.
Wow, you're already we're jumping in.
I was born ready.
Are you guys ready? I mean, I feel like they need to warm up a little bit. Like, come on, Skai. It's just like everything else.
I was born ready.
I know you were born ready. But it's just like everything else. We got to get them ready.
Slide it on.
Yes. Yeah. Like the tip, a little bit at a time.
Okay. Slow your roll. I'm an Aries. Okay. I like it. Never mind.
When is Aries?
Aries is forever, but it's March 21st through April 19th or 20th, something like that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
yeah, we're in the sign of Cancer right now.
Well, there's no rushing here. Okay, in the Poly Pimp business here, we don't rush. We take our time.
What's your sign again?
I am the queen of the jungle.
Leo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be Leo. Okay, cool, Leo.
But yeah, so yes, like Skai was saying, tonight we are here to talk about the future of polyamory. Because, I mean, everybody we talk to, we have so many mixed feedback and feelings about the future of polyamory. But there's like so much polyfuckery out there too. I think that's why so many people are losing hope. Literally this week, somebody sent me a message, asking my opinion about certain things. But we're going to talk about that as we get into the podcast tonight. But yes,
I think. Let me ease myself into this, but I think the when you mentioned the polyfuckery, I think folks who really want to live this way are going to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And just trying to navigate it from like, well, how does it work? Let me go on YouTube. Let me go on Facebook. Let me join a group. That's connecting. It is. But I really feel like when folks start investing and buying books and really studying, because it's a really different way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
When they start really doing like the retraining of the way they feel about human love and interaction and commitment and relationships and sex, when you start thinking differently and doing the work, like studying it, they're going to have successful, long-term, committed, polyamorous relationships.
Exactly. And also, I think what we need to remind people is the fact that automatically, if a polyamorous relationship fails, right? People are like, oh, it's because it's Poly's fault,
Mm-hmm.
I would have seen that from a mile away.
Right.
But when a monogamous relationship ends, it's like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. Move on to the next one.
Right.
It's like it doesn't matter how you love, right? It doesn't matter what kind of configuration that you choose for your life. People are gonna be people. Awful people are gonna be awful people.
Right.
And sometimes you're in a relationship and it does what it does and it did what it did, and then you move on to the next one. Whatever the relationship served its purpose or ran its course or whatever you want to call it. You came into each other's life for a reason, and you got to a point where it's like, okay, I think we're done. I think we've served our purpose to each other. It's not a bad thing because people always look at it as bad if something ends or transitions into something else. Most of my relationships always transition rather than
Hey.
end.
What's happening, ladies? How we feeling?
Hey, how's it going, sir?
Excellent, excellent. Pleasure to be
Yeah,
here.
that's
Is
the
this
one.
no? But you're gonna be cut off. Is that okay? Hey, Jamar, what's good?
I'm just gonna
What's
get
going on, Sky? How you feeling?
I am so.
let's
You want me
get
to just
closer
open
together.
it? Oh, okay.
No, it's fine.
All right. Welcome in. Welcome in. So tonight we're talking about the future of polyamory.
Yeah, I think
You sure?
maybe we should just put this a little bit further. That's it. We're still working on it, guys.
Technical. Oh, right. That's good. That's
All
good.
right.
Okay. So introducing Jamar. This is me too. This is my Poly Pimp co-host.
Hello, Jamar.
And
Nice to meet you.
Jamar is a friend of my friend Novia. You met Novia on the phone,
Yes.
So we have our little late night conversations and stuff like that. And Jamar was involved in a conversation about relationships and blew my friggin' mind, because I was loving where it came from, right? So we need to recreate that in a sense, in terms of we're just going to have the casual conversation of the future of polyamory, and I'm sure some of that wisdom is going to come through Jamar.
All right.
All right, sure.
Well, I guess we're gonna let Jamar introduce himself to our audience first, and then we'll dive into it.
I mean, what do you want to know? I'm Jamar Hawkins, living in Dallas, Texas, and Los Angeles as well. I'm a film producer, director, assistant director, and as far as poly goes, I'm actually new to that whole lifestyle, but had some experiences.
What's your experiences been like?
Very challenging, actually, just finding the right, fits and partners and people that have the right mind frame and mind style and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's a work in progress.
So it's something you're interested in continuing, growing, learning, doing the work?
For sure, absolutely.
Okay. And then what do you think is a challenge? Like what made you gravitate towards polyamory versus a traditional monogamous relationship?
Just lifestyle and what fits for me. I've been in a marriage, I've been in monogamous relationships. It usually doesn't work out for me in the long term. So just finding what fits my lifestyle. I'm in an empty nester phase, so the requirements are a little bit different for me than a younger audience or someone that has to deal with the whole kid aspect. So outside of that, the need for monogamous relationship changes. The whole perspective changes once you don't have that grounding foundation to focus on.
Do you have
Okay. So did you say how long ago you started this journey?
Like 2022.
Okay. So I mean, your feet have been more than wet.
So what direction do you feel like you're going? Like what are you looking for? Are you looking to build a poly pimp castle? Oh, we have that.
Yeah,
What y'all got going on over
we're
there?
on that part. Yeah.
I didn't mean to say pimp. I meant, do you want to have all your queens in one house? Like, do you want you know, sometimes
What
you
does
ask,
it look like?
yeah,
for
sometimes people have like an idea of like, you know, I want to be solo poly. I want to be married and have multiple wives, or you know, what does it look like?
So like I said, I live between two places. I'm in Dallas and I'm in Los Angeles. So for me, more of a B type fit, so I can have, you know, coverage in each area. But the option of, you know, bringing both of those pieces together would be preferred by me. But what I've found in my journey so far, it's very hard to find those compatible people unless they choose each other. So um, yeah, preferably I do a triangle, but V is where I'm at right now. So.
Okay. And when you say triangle, you mean like the women are bisexual?
Mhm.
Okay. I've heard that before. I've heard that. Have you heard that before?
Yes.
And
it's
okay.
not new.
It's okay. It's okay. So, so what we want to go into? Am I ready to proceed?
Absolutely.
Because you know,
we're already to die. We're like 10 minutes.
So what?
in.
So what do you think is the problem with like why people are not satisfied? Why marriages are not like? And then I'm talking about monogamy, right? Because you're more familiar with monogamous living, right?
Mhm.
And then you're transitioning into this new way of loving. What do you think is problematic with monogamy long term? Because we know that, you know, monogamous marriages are at a what, almost a 65% failure. I won't say failure, I'll say divorce. And then there are people who stay married, and they say there's like another 10 to 15% who stay married long term miserable. So I don't consider those wins, but you know, what do you think is the pull towards people like finding their voice and saying, you know, I really would like multiple partners?
I mean, honestly, it comes down to just that people being honest with themselves because what you find, like you said, in a lot of those monogamous relationships is both partners are either miserable or one partner is miserable or there's the hidden infidelity going on or, you know, just boredom in the relationship if they're just going through the motions. It's just finding happy couples has been a really hard thing for me. Like I don't see a lot of examples of that that are actually true when you get into underneath the surface of things. So
Right.
just really just people being honest with themselves and what they really want, not trying to meet a societal norm that is already proven not to work for a majority of the people,
Right.
especially in today's, you know, quick, fast, instant gratification, multiple options. Like no one really has the stick through itness to stick through with it these days. They don't feel like they have to.
Right.
You know, it's an
But
easy out. Like, you know, it's easier to get divorced than anything else these days. You know.
but here's the thing. These are thoughts that I have. You jump in.
No.
The thoughts that I have with like when I look at like my grandmother who was married till death do us part
Mm-hmm.
is, and then she even told me some of the stuff she had to go through with her husband, my grandfather. And a lot of people back in those times stayed married for the just the sake of this is what you do, right? And I look at a lot of people are finding joy in getting divorced because they did it and it was completed. I just find people like back in the day being like they suffer through marriage.
Right.
I mean, life is you're gonna suffer in any of your choices depending on what your perspective is. You know what I'm saying? Like one person feels like they're suffering, the other person is feeling like they're free. Like you already know, a majority of divorces are started by the women, not the men. So men will stick through suffering indefinitely if, you know what I'm saying, that keeps their peace. Whereas at some point women always get fed up or feel like they're giving up too much or they suffer too much and then they're ready to move on. So I mean I've seen people that have been married 25 years and then and the reasoning is always anything under the sun.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, why? You know what I'm saying? So what do those vows really mean to people when they take them these days? You know, they don't really mean it. If they did, it wouldn't happen. So just really taking, you know, that whole thing seriously is what's missing in today's, you know, culture.
Or is it even necessary? That's what
Is
I
it?
wonder.
Well, I
I
mean,
wonder that.
the whole basis of marriage is more of a business relationship than a, you know, emotional thing, especially the way everything's done in the US. Like, and from a men's perspective, it absolutely isn't worth it, you know, especially, I mean, you just look at all the different scenarios, like, what was just in the news, Tiana Taylor and Iman,
I saw
and
that.
that whole, and they look
Yeah.
like a picture perfect marriage for a long time,
Yeah. Did you see that?
despite what, you
I
know,
don't watch TV. I'm not on social media like that, and I don't follow any celebrities.
Well,
well,
Except
let's put it like
apparently
this.
they just
He,
divorced. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, she came up and he's, you know,
She got
got
a
a
lot.
lot of,
She got
well,
a lot.
she got everything.
She got everything.
She got to keep everything that was hers and take half of what was his plus everything they got together, and he still got to give her more.
Yeah.
So was it worth it? You know, they still have the two beautiful daughters. They still got to, you know, do the raising of the children, but the balance just isn't there. So the benefit for the men is really more the question. The benefit for the women is transparent. You know what I'm saying? Outside of,
Mhm.
and then what they actually have to do to get that. I mean, every situation is different, but I mean, there's no bar really considered on how they showed up. It's just automatic, you
Mhm.
know.
I mean, for me, I think I personally am not considering marriage in the future, but I think at any level, no matter your finances, your social status, and everything, you should always consider a prenup because, like you say, it's like a business contract. We look at it too much from an emotional point of view to where, because sometimes, I've seen some women be like, oh, I don't know why he's asking me to sign a prenup. And I'm like, well, it's for your own protection as well. I mean, it's a contract that you draw, and it's not like it's something that's already drawn. You can make it whatever you want it to be. I feel like no matter what your level is, financial, whatever, there should be a prenup because it's my agreement with you. If you do this, if you do that, this is what can happen, just like in a business arrangement.
Cool. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Like I said, it definitely is a business arrangement, and it's not beneficial to the man unless there's children involved. If there's not children involved, then it's really
Peace.
not a big benefit to the man. And you know, this was a little bit early. I just had something come to my door. I need 2 minutes to run down and grab it. I'll be right back. Okay.
No
Okay.
worries. No worries.
In the meantime, we're
We
saying
got some.
hello to our people. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got
Hey, Mike Kwan. Hey, Rhonda. Hey, Damon. Jackie, what's up?
Hey Damon. Jackie says that's not true. That's all for the black race.
I'm not sure what that was.
What does that mean? Whites are still marrying.
Hmm.
Not me. Brian's. Hey stranger.
Hey, Brian.
Do you know who Brian is?
I'm not sure. Who
He's
Brian
a
is.
stranger.
Ah, that's why he said hey, stranger. Okay, we're going to become friends, Brian.
So so anyway, in terms of moving forward, in terms of the future of polyamory, what do you think that looks like?
I think more and more people are opening up to the idea, at least, right? And they are realizing, a lot of them. Now, some people are still in the closet. They still don't want to have transparency in their lives because they are afraid of societal judgments. But which I understand. I feel like it's a brave thing to come forward and be like, so I'm different than all of you guys, and I know you're gonna judge me for it, but so what? It's
Mhm.
okay because I'm gonna live my life and I'm gonna be happy no matter what.
Right.
I believe more people are polyamorous than not. It's just they are not, he already unmuted. They're just not willing to suffer the consequences of judgment and whatever else may come with being in the open. Because what a beautiful thing when you can be transparent with the people that you're talking to, dating, living with, married to. When I mean, some people want to know every little detail of your relationships and whatever situationships that you have. And some don't. But at the end of the day, they are aware of what is happening. I mean, I know I've experienced different aspects of relating to people. I've had the don't ask, don't tell, where basically the person doesn't really want to know all the details, all the in and outs of your dating life. They're just aware that you are dating. And at times they may ask questions and, questions that they feel like they want to know. And then you also have the ones that I'm talking about myself. I've been in relationships where um, he wants to know all the details. Oh, you went out with Daniel. Please tell me all about it. What did you guys do? How's the sex? How's this? How's that? I mean,
Novia had a word for that. She was telling you, Sky.
What was that?
What was that word Novia used when you get happy about what the other person?
Oh, compersion.
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 Yes.
Yeah.
Some people, they live it, they breathe it. I am one of those people, but I can't say that I'm always compersive 100% of the time. I've had my moments as well, but you know, but it's such a beautiful thing to where I don't have to hide any parts of me. I can be 100% myself with whomever I'm with, and there is no worries about repercussions or consequences of me being honest about who I am. So that's what I love about polyamory, and then that's why I feel like more and more people are trying, at least trying, to come into the light to be honest about who they are, what they want, and how they want to live life.
Sounds good. Comments. My bad. I meant all other races are still marrying. A lot of poly today is pure programming. Just my opinion. And hello, ladies. Thanks to Novia for inviting me in.
What
Peace,
isn't
Jackie.
programming?
Yeah, what is it programming? Because I feel like people getting married monogamously is programming. And yeah, and it's like, I see more people gravitating towards polyamory by the year. As the years go by, it's just going to grow because I just feel like polyamory is answering what people want, because I don't think monogamy is satisfying enough. Monogamy sounds good, and there's a core thing about it. Like, for example, having children.
Right.
It really is beneficial to have at least two parents raising children, right? But we already know they don't have to live in the same house, or they can live in the same house, and they don't have to have a romantic relationship, and they don't have to have sex with each other, or they could, or they don't. Like, raising the children is a whole job in itself. That ain't got nothing to do with romance.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Who you loving on ain't got nothing to do with these kids being fed and taken to school and educated and groomed and what have you. So you could have partners that satisfy various aspects of your life.
Exactly.
So and people realize, well, I married this person, and we are evolving, right? Like, what we did 20, 40, 50, 60 years ago we're driving cars that have computer chips in them. You know what I mean? Like, life is different. So yeah, I see polyamory evolving. And the thing about polyamory, it's not a one way how it works. Jamar said he has two locations he lives in, and he goes from back and forth. It would be nice if he had a partner over in Dallas and one in California, and then they meet, chill, what have you. Now, my question to your preferred dynamic is, do you prefer your partners to have other partners?
This is where I'm at this year, and it changes, it develops. So I want everybody to be adults and be responsible for their own choices and themselves. If my partner chooses she only wants to deal with me, then that's her choice. If she chooses she wants to deal with multiple people, that's her choice. It's my choice how I want to respond in either of those situations. Because you have a lot of times where a woman might choose that she only wants to be with you, but only wants you to be with her, or she doesn't want to share you, or she wants to share you in control and rules, and that's
Too
not
much.
really, yeah, it's just too much. So I want everybody to be responsible for themselves and make grown-up decisions and not make other people into villains when they're just being themselves. So, you find what fits
Good answer.
and leave it at that. And it's been working well for me this year, which means that when people find themselves getting too emotionally connected to where they don't feel like they can honor what our understanding is, then they remove themselves from the situation or they make adjustments within themselves. And that's not anything that's put on me. They take that upon themselves.
So you feel like the emotions is what's really keeping the dynamic from being progressive or like long lasting?
85% of women hate to share. And that's just
Where'd you
something
get that percentage from?
I just made that percentage up,
Oh,
but
okay.
85% of the women I meet hate to share.
Okay.
You know what I
Clarification.
mean? So I'm only speaking personally in my life. 85% hate to share me.
Okay,
They'll
well,
share, and
85%.
they'll happily share somebody they don't care about. They won't share me though.
So when do you have the conversation that, hey, I am not seeking any monogamous relationships?
Off the top.
Yes.
Okay. I get
Off
that.
the top.
And I love it.
Before it, yeah. Or
So
very early in. Like
they get
it's not
into
like
it. No.
it's not like first thing out your mouth when you're getting to know somebody, but it's pretty soon in there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Look,
When they ask the right questions that require the answer.
Exactly. Yeah.
we hate to share.
Exactly.
Sharing
What that person just said. Yeah, 100%. So it's better to do it
That is so
in
true.
full knowing than to do it in the dark. And that's what I'm getting to. Like all these women that think they have these perfect monogamous relationships, most of the time it's
Trash.
not that. And
Exactly.
the same ones saying it, no, it's not that because they got something on the side.
And that's why we talk about transparency in
100%.
polyamory.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think for some people, it would take all the fun away for them because they see cheating as a way to get excitement. So if their partner knows who they're with, what they're doing, where they're
Mhm.
at,
They should feel
it's not
good.
exciting anymore. So they don't want that.
Oh, really?
They absolutely don't want that because they want to
Then
sneak
they're getting
around.
excited by the wrong thing and they don't need to be in
Yeah,
a
they're getting
relationship.
excited about. I agree with that. They're getting excited about the
Because
wrong
that's
thing. I'm
very
excited.
exciting.
I'm excited to know my partner is having a good time with whomever else. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I like that. I like to know, like, oh, you went out, and blah, blah, blah. I like that. That's a good feeling to me. But I'm special.
Mhm.
Special
Aren't
case.
we?
I'm the special case. So yeah, we are.
So, but how about you, Jamar? Like you say, the majority of the women that you date don't like sharing. How do you feel? Because I've heard some guys say kind of like the same thing that you said. If it's somebody that they feel like they don't have deep feelings for, they don't mind if knowing that that person is with other people. But then they're like, well, if it's my woman, if it's my wife, if it's my this, my that, then I definitely can do that. Like they will only have to be with me. So where do you fit? Because I know you said you fairly new to polyamory. How do you feel about that? How does that make you feel knowing that your partner might be open to dating other people? And have you experienced that yet in your journey?
I experienced it in, different levels of my journey, whether I wanted to or not. You know what I mean? So like you say, even in monogamy, you'll still end up facing that depending on how the relationship's going. So I've already had to process that. And it's like I said, it's a self-check thing. You know what I mean? So you have to know that going in, anything that you're asking for and wanting, that shoe fits on the other foot as well for the other person. So I don't really like hypocritical logic, anything. If I'm saying I want something, that person has the option to have that same thing. You know what I mean? And then
How
it
does
puts
that
it in a
how
fuller
does that affect
perspective
you
for each
emotionally?
person. Um, like I said, we're responsible for regulating our own emotions. Like that's big people work, you know. Um, that's self work. You have to understand and process your own emotions and know what your triggers are and why you're being triggered and deal with that and understand where it's coming from. Most of it is fear. And so you have to process that for what it is and take ownership of it and control it. You can't ever say, you know, you about anything. It should be I. You know what I'm saying? And that's taking the emotional responsibility off the other person and putting it back on yourself. And once you put it back on yourself, then you know you have control over those responses.
You are saying all the right things, but my question to you: have you ever experienced
Yes.
some jealous
And I had to
feelings?
process. I don't let myself get jealous.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
I
Like,
don't let
explain
myself
that
get
to
jealous.
me. Or how do you not let
Meaning,
yourself get jealous?
You mean you get jealous, but you don't act out?
no, it's like what
Or
am
you
I
don't feel it
jealous
out?
of?
There's nothing.
Like
Okay.
it's like what am I jealous of? Am I jealous of the other person finding happiness in something I didn't provide with somebody else? If I wasn't willing to provide it, now if I'm providing it and they still want to get it somewhere else, then obviously I'm not providing what they need. So let them go get it somewhere else and let me go get what I need somewhere else because, you know,
But I mean, you can't. You don't believe that that person can get it from
From
both
both,
sides. Whatever
yeah.
that you're providing, do you feel like if you're providing this, then she shouldn't seek it
Like
somewhere else
sometimes
either?
people like French fries from McDonald's, but sometimes people like French fries from Wendy's. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's still French fries, but it's like I like the salty ones here,
Right.
but these have the ketchup is different. I don't know.
I mean, if you know
Same.
yourself and you know a little bit about the person you're dealing with, then that's something that comes with that person, then you're either accepting that person as they are or you're trying to change that person, which is never a good thing. So you have to be an adult and choose a person that's on the same frequency and vibration of what you're on. And if they're not, then you have to be an adult and let them go, not try to change them into what you want them to be.
Gotcha. So when you initiate your conversations with said partners and you say, just so you know, I'm non-monogamous or whatever words you use, and what do they hit you back with? Like, are you finding people that are also non-monogamous? Because I think that's where the difficulty comes from when you are looking for people who are monogamous and you're like, okay, you either deal with this or not.
I mean, from what I heard from some of my female friends that I have right now, is the bar is in the trash, and most women have very low expectations for what they're going to receive or get out of a man these
Mm.
days, if at all. So it's really easy to, you know, beat that bar if you're a certain type of person. But yeah, most people are falling underneath it, so the options have become less. And so people are settling and doing situationships just to pass the time so they're not lonely.
So,
But nobody's
they are
thinking
monogamous. They are monogamous.
people people have gotten to the point where everybody wants to Burger King it. Everybody wants to have it their way. Create their own sandwich and put a name on it. That's why we got so many categories now. But nobody wants to actually do the work to do what, like you were saying, the previous generations did
Mhm.
and toughed it out despite whatever. Because your grandmother might have stayed with her grandpa, but grandpa still was out doing everything the men today was doing, but grandma just put up with it. And that's why they stayed together. Because what keeps a
But
couple
is that
together is the
okay?
woman.
Is that okay though?
It's okay if they resolve that within themselves and they figure, you know what I'm saying? Like
Did they ever?
we're
I
not.
don't think they ever did though.
The thing is, everybody's in everybody's business for what? You know, like everybody has opinions on everybody else's relationships for what? Like what goes underneath your roof, your household, that's between you guys. And you don't answer any what people out there say, you don't answer anybody outside of yourselves at the end of the day.
I
You
hear
know what
what
I'm
you're
saying?
saying.
Not
I
okay.
agree a little bit with that, but a lot of times, though, those situations were more like on the abusive side, to
Yes,
where the women
they
Mm,
were in
didn't
pain.
have the choice necessarily. I mean,
Hmm.
they did, but they didn't. It's kind of like, if you control me financially, right? And I don't really have anybody else to help me outside of this household, do you think I'm going to leave? So I'm going to put up, and a lot of, I mean, I've seen it. I growing up, a lot of men, they know they control their finances, so they're like, I'm gonna have this woman, that woman, and this
but
we can do about
that's
that.
no
But if you look at somebody else, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
sorry to cut you off, but we don't have that dynamic anymore. Men lost that stand that foot holding. You know what I'm saying? Especially if we were going to get into ethnics and the different communities. Um, there's more women of color that are bringing in the bread for the households now, to where men don't even get to stand on that ground. So thus, most women aren't staying in any of those situations. You know what I'm saying? But also, men aren't acquiescing to these boss women, and the only men that are teaming up with these boss women that are now wearing the pants in the family are the ones that have been sort of made into like B-level men by their mothers and stuff like that. Used to a
Mm.
woman taking care of them, and women are literally enabling their sons and raising them in ways to where the next woman really wouldn't want them, or they're about to get a boy and not a man to partner up with, and that works for some of them because they can control the situation, and women like being in control of the situation, but they also are going to go cheat on that man because they're in control of the situation. So there's
Hence,
a lot of
hence we have polyamory.
exactly.
That's where it comes in, because instead of having all this toxic behavior, we have. What are you eating?
Yeah, I was trying to eat before the thing started, but we was on different timetables, so my food was already on the way.
Oh, your Uber Eats came. Got it. Got it.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Aw.
I'm gonna let
Well,
most of it get cold. I'm just sneaking in
got it. Got it. Got it.
quietly.
Got it.
It's okay. You
But
can have
yeah,
your dinner with us because we're having drinks. So
Yeah, no, that's why I'm saying everything you just said, yes, I agree.
mm,
But also I'm saying, like, what would make this better? You're gonna have women that are gonna be boss, right? You're gonna have women that are not. You're gonna have men that are gonna be boss, you're gonna have men that are not, right?
mm.
Meanwhile, we're moving to the future. What does that look like? What do you think it's gonna start looking like? Especially when you open up the opportunity for people to have honest, authentic, transparent conversations and be able to move the way they want to individually.
I think it's gonna look like a lot of confusion
You think so?
for a lot more time. Yeah,
Hmm.
like yeah, definitely.
Word.
Because
You
there's a
think?
lot to unpack. There's a lot to like. Everybody needs to get counseling. Everybody needs to work through.
absolutely, because we all have issues,
Yeah,
right? And
everybody needs to work through their issues because while I like some of the benefits of poly, it just makes the whole situation more complicated sometimes because depending on what the dynamic is, you just doubled your issues instead of simplify them if you don't have the right cohesion, you know. So
I I can agree to some degree, yes, because like you said, we all need counseling, right? We should all be seeking help because remember, we come for our parents. Most of them, they didn't they didn't know what it was like to have room to express yourself, uh, like express your emotions, express how you're feeling about situations. I know I was not allowed to. What? You can't be mad. Like you can't have certain emotions. Like don't you dare, kind of thing, right? So
mhm.
I feel like our generation bottled up a lot of things because
Mhm.
we weren't necessarily allowed to express ourselves in certain situations. So I feel like anybody really should be seeking help, counseling, therapy, whatever is needed to deal with, and sometimes it's not necessarily just because you have issues that you get into counseling. Sometimes it's more like a little bit of guidance and clarity, a different mindset, a different set of eyes to look at things differently. You get counseling for all kinds of reasons. But I also think that we are also evolving as a society, even though we still have a lot of setbacks, a lot of things that we wish were different. I mean, years ago, people who are queer or gay could not come out without fearing being killed or beat up or something like that. So we are moving towards positivity and a good future, but it's still a lot of work. It's still going to take time. And I think it's the same for polyamory. A lot of people would have loved to be able, because I know many people who are like, I really wish my partner, my wife, my husband would let me even have the conversation. Like they're not even open to having a conversation and understanding. And then sometimes you realize, I thought I wanted that, but after going through certain things, I don't think that's what I really want. But it was good to talk about it to truly understand why we would want that, where we're coming from, and all that. But most couples don't get that privilege to be able to open up to their partners about how they're truly feeling inside, and if they're thinking something differently than what their partners is thinking.
And why is that?
Because it's not a safe place for them. They don't feel safe to do that. Because if they do, then the person takes it very personally, or they're like, oh, well, it's ground for divorce or breakup, usually.
Well, if it is, then it is. If your actual truth means that it puts some type of wedge in your relationship, that there's some type of ground, so is ignoring that truth going to?
Oh no, I'm totally
Right.
agreeing with you. I feel like you should have the conversation no matter the consequences, because at the end of the day, you are suppressing who you are just to satisfy societal norms or your partner. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying that's the reality that we are in. Most people don't feel safe opening up to their partners about certain situations. I know at some point I was trying to open up about certain things that I was feeling and wanting to experience with my partner. And it was an absolute, oh, we're not going to have that conversation. There was no room for me to even express certain things. It was cut off right off the top. So it's like I could choose to go talk to somebody else about it, and it could be potentially fatal or harmful or whatever, but your partner should feel comfortable enough to come to you to have a conversation. Nobody's saying that you have to agree with what they're saying or have to go in the direction that they're telling you that they're feeling. It's just being able to confide in my friend, because if we're partners, we should have a friendship.
Absolutely.
But many relationships don't have that foundation. They don't have friendship as their foundation.
Right.
And then I don't know if you've heard this terminology before, but not recently heard about it, but are you familiar with divorce proofing your marriage?
I don't think I've heard the topic discussed in that way. You can enlighten me.
So basically, Kenya K. Stevens and her husband Carl Stevens, they have a lot of polyamory books and books about communication and what have you. I believe it came from them about divorce proofing your marriage, and it looks like there is no deal breakers, and we're not speaking on the extremes where you're like a drug addict or a rapist or something. We're talking about most people are getting divorced on some technicalities.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's not going to happen. So they wrote a book called Up Level Communication, which deals with the communication part. So the stuff that you're just talking about, like I have a friend, he got a divorce from his wife because his wife came to him and it's like, you know what? I'm kind of attracted to women. And he divorced her. Boom. He's like, okay, okay, that might means you're not attracted to me, obviously. She made a one microscopic conversation and he was out. The fear of his wife, he's like, oh, she must have been cheating before that just to come up with how she. I was like, wow, the way you think, it just gives me a headache immediately because this is your wife. You have children together. Like this, you made a vow to be with her. And as soon as she says something that rattles you, you run. And of course, in a divorce-proof marriage, like I have a friend also who has children with his partner, and they're not romantic anymore, but they're still together. They still live in the same household. They still take care of each other, etc. And they have other partners outside of the marriage or the partnership. And but they got children. They're not going nowhere. They are going to ride to the end because they have a mission to stay together and raise these kids, you know, and maybe whatever else they have connected. But they also see other people, you know. So that is something that I think is a really profound way of looking at love and relationships, because I mean, divorce, I think, is so devastating for so many people. Like I have several male friends that are all divorcing or divorced, and they're like slightly broken because it was so traumatizing. Just the whole thing of it is like, you know, they have to like
the whole experience is traumatizing.
It's
to tell
traumatizing.
you the truth. I mean, it can be simple, but 9 times out of 10, I feel like it is very traumatizing. And years later, you still like going through it. You know, it's like it's almost never ending. I mean, it would be ideal if it's like, you know what, Sky, we had a partnership and I don't agree with what we're doing anymore. I don't feel like we're aligning. We're not in alignment anymore. So let's just break things off. It would be so nice for Sky to be like, you know what, I may not agree with you, but okay, sure, let's do this if that's how you feel. She gets her stuff, I get my stuff, and we keep it moving. And we can decide, are we gonna be friends? Am I gonna see you and say, hey, Sky? Or do I cross the street if I see you on the same side as me? Like, where are we after this breakup?
Yeah, people don't know how to navigate.
But most of the people that I've seen, including my relationship, like they don't know how to navigate past I don't want to say failed relationship.
Yeah, once they get you, the skills go out the window.
Right. They don't know how to navigate.
Yeah, they just don't even know how to
together.
They don't even know how to cultivate being in the relationship, much less once they got you, the work is done. That's it. It's like, oh, I got her, so I don't gotta do nothing else, and it's over, and we're gonna ride this out in as trash as we can.
Right. So
can't do it.
I think that's why, you know, divorce can be very traumatizing, and it is definitely heartbreaking. No matter what it is, it's just it's heartbreaking sometimes.
And it's funny because when I was breaking up with my daughter's father, I said to him, why don't we just like, you know, be friends? Like, can't we just like co-parent and be friends? Can't we just like, you know, this is not giving. And he was like, hell no. Like he was
you weren't friends before, so you definitely cannot be friends after.
I feel like we were friends before. That's how we started. We were friends, but he was like, he could not, like, first of all, he never wanted to break up. Like that was for years the bitterness of like, how dare you decide for us that you want to go a different direction. That was number one. Number two, the trauma that he put on my daughters, the trauma that he put on me because I wanted to like, but I never said I don't like you anymore. I never said I don't love you anymore. I just don't want to be in this. And he couldn't, the concept was like foreign to him.
Rejection is hard. It's hard. It's just, but your maturity level is going to dictate your next, you know, how you navigate through it. Because I mean, you're going to get rejected a lot in life. It's part of life. Like the sooner you realize that and accept it, the better of a life you will have. It's just learning how to navigate rejection, you know.
I think you got to navigate more than rejection. You have to navigate commitment.
Right.
Mhm.
That's
because what there is a lack of overstanding on how to actually stay committed to someone,
that.
because the representation really isn't there. You can say God and the Bible and I mean, but there's not many examples you're going to put out there that's still on last. We got a couple of couples that are popular that people can look at, but once again, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Behind the screen, right?
Behind the screen, you don't really know what's happening in that situation. I mean, we all used to look up to Jay, Will, and Beyonce and Jay-Z and all these other people, and you never know what's going on behind closed doors.
Never know. Never know. Because how many times people break up, people get a divorce, and everybody's like,
why?
What happened?
Exactly.
Right? Because you guys just said that about what's her name? Tiana?
Tiana.
Taylor,
right? They look like the perfect couple. You guys look like you were just fine. You look like everything was going great. You were so cute together. You were this, you were that. But you don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
And then
It's too late.
I don't know if y'all saw the Clippers series that just came out on, I think it was Hulu or Netflix or something, where Donald Sterling's wife still is married to him to this day. She ain't going nowhere. The man has $4 billion, and I think they have separate residence. Okay, but she's still legally married to him. She's still like part of the Donald Sterling Trust. That's a different type of relationship. I mean, they're 80 or 90 years old, so maybe like sexually I don't know, because at 80 I hope to still want a little bit of.
I want to be able to get it on.
I would like to hope at least once a week or once a month or something. I don't know what the
once
time
a
frame.
year.
Something gotta break off at some point. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but they're ride or die, And when you watch that film, that wife, she put up a lot of bullshit. I mean, she was sitting there while her husband is talking to the lawyer about, she sucked me off, and she wasn't talking about this first girl, the V. Stiviano girl. Was talking about previously. This one wife was sitting there while her husband is talking about getting blowjobs from these little young bitches that he hires and brings and gives them cars and money and throws money at them. And she has to sit there, and they were high school sweethearts. So they've known each other their whole entire life.
Which means she never learned how to really suck dick, which is why he going.
Maybe he just wanted a different flavor.
Right. Maybe, yeah. Maybe she's not interested. She's like,
now, is she allowed to go have that same option, or is he block her?
Hell no.
Usually not. You know how it is. You know how it is.
And it always appears that the woman, especially the older woman, loses her feeling of sexuality, and now she's dry, and she don't need nothing. She don't need no affection, no cuddling, no touching. And so, and he still has a very workable thing, huh?
And that's her name, Jada.
Jada Pinkett?
Yeah, she wasn't letting nothing get dry and old over there.
Right.
And neither are these other women. They got the pool man, the gym instructor. Like, you just won't know about it, but they's not. Just like you wouldn't, they wouldn't.
Hey, I'm not mad at nobody.
It's better at hiding it.
I'm not mad at anybody. Hey, y'all. Hey, Ja.
Hey.
So that kind of thing is like, I think that like when you look at the viability of people creating the life that they want to create, it is out there. It is there. It is. I think it's easier now. Why? Because when we talk about, like, a lot of guys get really frustrated and upset when they talk about boss women and women who actually have the ability to make their own money, when in the reality, women have to, back in the day, the guy had to put out a lot. I remember I went out with this guy, and he was younger, of course, right? And he was like, everything is 50-50. We're going to eat, we're going to split the bill and all that kind of stuff. I was like, never in my life, but okay.
So what did you do? Did you guys talk about that
Yeah.
before you?
We talked about it, which I appreciated. We talked about it, but I was like, I don't necessarily feel feminine when I am paying half. I don't mind like cooking a meal. I don't mind reciprocating in kind. Like I have no problem with that. But I'm like, I don't feel like I feel like a homie more so. Because if me and the girls go out, we all split the check. We all homies. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
if I'm going out with you and you want me to pay half, I mean, it just depends on who, what, where, when, and how. So I can't, it's not specific, but I appreciated that he had a conversation, about
So
it.
did you end up going out with him?
Yeah. But I didn't.
Okay. I mean, for me, I don't. It doesn't bother me. I've paid for dates. I don't mind paying for dates. I actually like paying for dates.
I do.
Sometimes
I have
I do
no
like-
problem with it either. I do.
I do like a first date paid for, but typically my first date is like, hey, let's go have coffee. Let's go have a drink. Like, it's never a big deal. I may do brunch, you know what I'm saying? So typically I'm not a big spender on a first date because it's usually most of the time we get to talking a few times to feel each other out and see if it's even worth going out on a date with you. And then if I end up going out on a date, now it's like to see, okay, is there any physical chemistry and all that stuff? So I don't need anything fancy. Now, obviously, if you want to throw a whole shebang and hire a whole chef and a whole restaurant, I'm all for it, but I don't require that. It's just like, hey, let's just go to Starbucks and grab coffee. I don't care.
I mean, a first time meetup is different than a date.
Yeah. So most of my first dates have always been just very chill and relaxed where we can talk, because I always have like a million questions. I'm like CIA. I'm interrogating. But
so what does the future of polyamory look like for you?
For me, it's gonna keep going because I don't see myself living any other way but how I live now. Like I said, anybody who's watched our previous episodes, I feel like I've always been polyamorous, and I've always felt like I was different. So now that I have the opportunity to live in my truth, to be who I am without apologies, I feel like there's no looking back for me. Sometimes when I hear monogamy, I mean, kudos to the people. That's what they want. And it's great if that's what you want and you truly are living as a polyamorous person, as a monogamous person. But monogamy is not in the vocabulary for me anymore. And I can never see myself going back. Now, I may wake up tomorrow, follow my head, and have a revelation that I need to be monogamous. I don't know, for whatever reason, but in my real self, polyamory is the future for me, and there is no other way.
So for me, do you want me to say what I would do? Hey, Jamar.
Welcome back.
Technical difficulties. We out here. I think I'm always going to be poly-minded. Like I see the world through the lens of like my glasses are polyamorous, right? But I don't necessarily think solo poly is the way I want to live forever.
Okay.
Because I have been in a relationship my whole life, like from like junior high school, as far back as maybe even in elementary, I had a boyfriend, junior high, high school. And I had like several chunks of these big long-term relationships. And I think that might be something that I want. So I definitely am open to like a primary partner, I think. And I was really I'm really not for hierarchy. So it has to be a primary under the guise of a non-hierarchical situation. If y'all need explaining, just ask, because I could break that down.
I think that's self-explanatory.
Okay. And Jackie says, and this is exactly why women accept poly, starts with accepting that you pay half on a bill, respectfully said. No,
I don't know.
no. There are men out here, Jackie, that what would the word be? That take care of women. All of them. All of them women that they see, they're generous and they, do. But I think women need to reciprocate. That's definitely where I come
Because
from.
here's my thing. I hate. I've always said it, and I will continue saying it. I hate battle of the sexes.
I do too.
We each have a purpose. We each are. We have things that we offer that we bring to the table. I, as a woman, I love working. I absolutely love working. I'm not a homebody. I am always out. My house is for me to sleep in. That's it. Every once in a while, I want to be here and just relax and chill. But this is just a place for me to rest. I want to be out and about. I've always been like that since I was a kid, since I was a teenager. I was never home because I always had things that I was doing. But I also love building a home, right? Um I love taking care of people. I'm a caretaker.
Me too.
So I don't mind. I want to be able to still work, but I also don't mind cooking, cleaning, doing the house chores and all that stuff. And I like my men to be
Cutting the grass, taking the garbage
do
out.
whatever you feel like you do. Like, because I definitely don't want to change the
Wash
light
the
bulb.
car.
Even though the light bulb is easy to change, I don't want to do it. I wash my car because obviously I don't have anybody to wash my car, and I have a certain way that I like to do it. So I do it. But if I had a man and he wanted to go wash my car, I would love that. And sure, baby, I'll wake up and cook breakfast for you.
Me too.
I'll cook lunch. But every once in a while, I would like for you to just reciprocate, because I've had partners who just cook for me. I wake up and breakfast is ready. It's like, oh my God, I feel so special because I've always been the one cooking. So when you find somebody who cooks for you, it's kind of like it's a soft spot for me. But you got to know how to cook, though. Don't
That part.
Don't just be bringing me anything.
Don't be opening no can of.
Because I'm a good cook.
No,
I'm a good cook.
I am too.
Okay, so
yeah, I'd rather do the cooking.
I've always been against battle of the sexes. I'm not saying like if you're a woman you can only do this, if you're a man you can only do that. It's just we all have things that we're good at. I know I'm good at taking care of people, making you feel special, taking a load off your shoulders. When you come from work, you don't have to worry about where the next meal is going to come from. It's going to be here waiting for you. But I don't want to worry about, oh, this thing is broken and I have to figure it out and fix it myself, paint my house or do anything like that. I don't want to have to worry about that. I want my men to worry about that part. So,
agreed. All right, Novia is in the building. Welcome, Novia.
She came when we were about to be done.
I know. I'm old-fashioned. I want to be a helpmate and have a provider that also protects me. I need stability and consistency.
Consistency, yes.
Is a good word.
Yes, I love that.
And Mike Kwan says, "You cook, I'll wash the dishes." That's very
I
helpful.
Absolutely love that.
It's very helpful.
It's very nice when you get the help.
I have one friend who wants to live on some land. This is like the whole land thing. Get houses built, have like a partner in one house, another partner, his sister, his aunt, his mother, some kids, like just have like a compound.
A community. Yeah.
Not my thing. I thought about it.
A village.
I'm not into it.
We could do a subdivision, right? It's just we're not all gonna live in the same space.
I don't want to see some people all the time.
I actually like my space, so I don't even think I want to live with anybody, but I don't mind you coming for like a couple of days at a time. That's just how it is.
Yeah. That whole village thing, it sounds really very African.
I want the village. I want it.
It sounds African. I like the idea.
But we are African. What are you talking about?
Right. I'm Americanized though.
Oh my God.
No, it sounds very African, but what I'm saying is like I want to come to visit y'all in the village.
Yes.
I want to stay in a cute little mini, what is it called? The tiny house. But I want to go back to my city life because I feel comfortable in a city where there's access to everything. So a city with a garden.
I'm a hermit. So my name is Ermi, actually. And it actually made, like, I feel like it influenced how I am.
Live.
I am a true hermit. Like, I like to be secluded, but, every once in a while I'll poke my head out. Hey, what's up, y'all? But I do like knowing that I have a community around me, which I do have. Like, everybody's far, but everybody's very close. It's just a phone call. Hey, I need your help. Can you please come help me? And yeah, in the blink of an eye, my community's here.
So for folks who are in the chat, what does your poly future look like? Novia, you said that you want a helpmate. Do you want one helpmate or more than one helpmate? Are you about that poly life, or
She wants 2 helpmates.
Oh, you know already.
Oh, 2. Why not 3?
Yeah, why not?
Well, she wants her main 2, and then she wants to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds exactly about right.
I want 8.
Do you have the time for 8?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'll have to find out.
Wow. Jamar is like, I don't know how that works.
I want 8.
I think number is dependent on time.
I know.
Because people want to have their time and you want to be able to cultivate and establish things. You can't really be seeing someone once a month.
I mean,
really
I don't
you
know.
are establishing anything.
I don't know what that would look like really with 8 partners. But remember, every relationship is on a different level. So somebody may require just a once a month kind of, hey, let's hang out, let's spend the whole day. Like, I actually have friends like that. It's always, we don't plan things because when we plan, it never works out, right? So it's always like, hey, what you doing today?
You want 8 what? You're talking about 8 men, 4 men, 4 women? Like, when you say 8
men, so I can't consider
I'm
myself.
calling cap. I'm not even letting you get away with that. No, I'm calling cap. You cannot deal with the sex drive of 8 men by yourself, love.
So
I'm
here's the
just gonna
thing.
put that on the table.
Let me sit
If
back.
I was one of those men, no. So just no.
Are you gonna live next to me, Jamar? Are you gonna be close? You're all the way in LA, right? How often am I gonna see you, Jamar? How often?
Well, that would be
Are you
completely up
moving
to you and your situation.
What?
That would be completely up to you and your situation. Are you staying where you are, or are you coming around me?
Oh, I'm staying here. I'm not going anywhere.
You see me twice a year.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so I can have 8.
Okay, that's one of the 8. Let's go.
That's what I'm saying. Right?
All you have to have is a Google Calendar, and
That's it. You just organize everything. And again,
8 would be too much for me. Actually.
So here's the thing too. I feel like we're only coming from a point of sex, right? Because honestly, I have such great relationships with people that I don't really have sex with, but it's like that special bond. Like
what?
They call and I'm like, I will be on my way, and vice versa. But we don't have to be sexual to have that kind of relationship, because
that part,
just being in a relationship
Jamar,
with somebody,
he's like,
I don't know.
Can you relate? Can you relate?
Not at all.
Why? You don't have special friendships, special relationships that are asexual?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, they're
I do.
And done. That's what we're talking about.
Okay. So you're just talking about a wide category of relationships, not
not just sexual,
not just romantic.
But I mean, I'm pretty sure I could handle 8.
But anyway, back to you. The fact of the matter is relationships are really like, that's part of the future that we should also mention, is it's really not all about sex. Like she just said, you can literally create your community based on relationships. Like if you have, as a woman, having these guys around, like I have guys I can call on right this second. You know what I'm saying? And if I was in a monogamous marriage, oh my God, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that because it would look strange, it would feel strange, it would be strange. But the fact that if anything were to
You
happen,
say call on for what?
for anything,
if there's an
Well, if you're in a
emergency.
monogamous
Emergency.
relationship, you don't need to call anybody because you have somebody there to do
yeah,
this.
but he might not be in proximity. He might not have it. He might not be able to fix it. He might not have the skill. Like there are, like if you have to be the everything, you have to have the everything, right? You have to have all the resources.
Right.
And this way, when I have multiple partners and people who are when I think, okay, well, I need this person for this, boom, I know exactly.
But that goes both ways though, because unless it's like you say, you like to be reciprocal. So if you're taking on all these partners so you can have all these needs filled, what about their needs? How do you show up for all of them, vice versa? You know what I'm saying?
In whatever ways that are required. And I'm not saying
But
sexually. I'm not saying sexually either.
But I don't feel like you really just seek out those people just because you're trying to get a need met, right? It's more like, oh, we're connected, let's hang out and see. Because usually you don't even really know what that person is going to bring into your life until you truly connect with them and get to know them. They get to know you. Then you find out what that person brings into yours and what you bring into theirs. Because it's not like you go out, you be like, oh, okay, this person, I'm choosing this person because I feel like they can give me this and that.
I mean, but we're not talking about dating at this point. We're talking about actual relationships.
Yes.
So we're past that phase. You already know what you're getting with that person when you're at the level what we're talking about. So I don't think that.
So for me, I don't know. I'm usually present for all my relationships, right? Whether near or far, I'm present. You text me. I always tell people, like, you will always feel like you're the only one.
Can I ask a question? Because you keep bringing up, it doesn't have to be sexual. So at what point are you in a relationship with someone that you're sexually attracted to and not letting it go sexual?
So
it's hard.
I mean, it is hard now. Don't get me wrong. Like, and I've been on both end of the spectrum, right? So I was in a relationship where he needed a break for whatever he was trying to go through in his life as far as the sexual aspect, but that never changed our relationship. Like, we communicated the same way as often as we did before. We still took trips. We still visited each other. We still went on dates. We just were not having sex. So, and that went on for just a few months until he figured out, whatever he was going through that he needed to figure out, until he figured that out, and then back to normal. It can happen. So, I mean, that situation wasn't a forever situation, but it was for months at a time, right? So it happens. Now, I think it's usually hard because one person makes that decision typically, right? It's either you come to me like, so I think I need a break. I need to work on this. I need to work on that, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be hard for me to accept, because how do you go from all cuddly, having sex, yes, to now we're not having sex anymore, right? But I personally can't handle that, because you know why? You're not my only source of sex. So the kind of sex that I have with you, I can't have with somebody else. But at the same time, my sexual needs are still being met somewhere else. Now, again, we all have different sexual relationships too with people. So so that's going to be hard for me, because I wasn't the one who made that decision, right? You're the one who needed that. So I'm just supporting you in that sense. And whenever you're ready, you just come back to that part of it. But again, the other aspect of our relationship never changed. We still went on dates. We still did everything, spent the night, went on trips, cuddled, because the only thing that was not happening was that penetration sex. That was it. We were still very intimate with each other, very loving towards each other. And That was it. I know it's hard to
Imagine.
wrap your head around a lot of times because people are like, well, if you're gonna like cuddle with
Do
me,
all that.
like,
Why'd
I
you take the
gotta
sex
stick
out?
it in. Huh?
You're doing everything else. Why'd you take the sex out?
Because they
Like
needed
laying
that
in the
for
bed,
themselves.
cuddling, all of
It
this
was,
stuff.
but it was for them. It wasn't about me. It was what they needed at the moment. And I can appreciate it because I've come to a point where it's like I could use everything else but that. Like if the person can handle that part, because I don't necessarily need to be sexual with somebody at all times. So I need to know that my partner can support me in that sense. Like, is the sex just everything? Is it a deal breaker for you? If I'm not being sexual with you, do you feel like we don't have a relationship?
Um, like I said, I have friendships that have nothing to do with sex. I have friendships that revolve around sex. I have, you know, stuff that's a balance of the two. It really comes down to the individuals and
Exactly.
like I said, their mental and their ability to communicate without fearing what the other person is, going to respond and not being afraid of, the consequences of, being honest,
Mm.
with yourself and with
Exactly.
the other person. Like, if that means you guys aren't going to continue to deal with each other, and that's what it means. If it means that you just have to do each other different, you always have that person who can always feel confident knowing that they are doing everything with their eyes open. It's
And,
not.
and
Go ahead.
part of like the breakup of a relationship is like multiple relationships, because when you break up with someone, you lose that friendship, you lose that loving, you lose, there's different things that you lose from that person.
Mhm.
And sometimes you can lose one part of that relationship, like maybe say sex, or it could be whatever it is, but you still have the person and you still cherish that part of them anyway. You still
Right.
have the friendship, you still have the hanging out, the dancing. Like, one thing, I don't want to go to no house party event with people who don't like house music. Like, that right there is like a deal breaker. Like, if you're not into house music, don't come with me to my events, because
Right.
I need you to be all in. And so I gravitate to those people who want to go with me, who are all in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's like, um Novia says, okay, wait,
She
back it
hit
up.
earlier.
I'm definitely exploring that poly option.
Okay.
Okay. After 2 failed marriages, what can I lose? Lose.
I mean, you still can lose a lot. I think she
Miri,
meant me too.
okay, you sound like a Wonder Woman. So I'm just curious. You are solo poly because being committed to people just won't be fulfilling to you, because you sound like every man's dream lady.
So here's the thing. So that's another thing too. When you start talking to somebody, right? And it's on my profile, excuse me, on every dating platform that I am registered with. It says polyamory. I plastered on my profile. The first thing you see is like, and I
Same.
put it in capital letters, all capital letters, literally shouting at you, I'm polyamorous, so don't waste your time, don't waste my time. And so then the first conversation, I mentioned it again. I hope you read my bio. Please make sure.
Go read it again.
Yes. And then they're like, oh, yeah, that's cool with me because I don't want anything serious either. And I'm like,
No,
where did I mention
that is
I was
not what we're
lying?
saying.
So wait, you guys say poly, but you're solo poly. So aren't you just more ethical non-monogamy than poly without having the partner?
No. So solo polyamory is more like you are your primary partner. You kind of dictate how you move. And basically,
Sounds like Burger King to me.
right?
Have it your
It
way.
sounds like you're
Yes.
just
Right,
having
it
it
could be
your
having
way.
your way.
Yes,
It could be
it
having
is.
your way. Because I'm not necessarily looking to move in with anybody. I'm not looking to get married, but I am in committed relationships. You know what I'm saying? So, because people always see it as, oh, so you don't want any commitments.
I
No.
hate when that happens. Oh
Right.
my God.
That's not what that means, because all my partners, I am very committed. I actually have long-term relationships One of my partners has been 4 years. Another one has been 2 years. Like, I have long-term relationships. I am committed to those people as much as they are committed to me. It's just I make my own decisions and I move how I move. I respect how they move and they respect how I move. Now, we are very respectful and very mindful. I can't find the word that I'm looking for. Considerate of each other, you know. I'm not here to hurt you, but if I'm trying to move to Dallas, let's say, for example, I'm not seeking your permission. I will let you know, hey, this is what I'm about to do, and this is why I'm doing it, because it's best for me right now. I make decisions based on my own needs primarily. I will consider a partner's feelings and whatever else, but at the end of the day, the main decision is about me. Like, if you tell me, oh, I can't live without you, you can't move to Dallas, I'm still going to move to Dallas because that's where I'm going to find a higher paying job or whatever it is that I'm seeking at the moment. Because a lot of times we get held back because of partners in our lives and what we could do, what we could become because of relationships and things like that. I know many people, I've been in that space before too. You don't progress because
you can't.
You can't because you don't want to hurt your partner's feelings. So I am my primary. So most decisions I make.
She's autonomous.
Yes, I love my autonomy. Again, I will consider you. And if we get to that point, I will try to figure out, okay, so how can we make this work if you still want it to work while I make these moves? I will consider you in that sense, but I'm not gonna make a move because you are uncomfortable with it. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
So
what were your questions? You start looking up in the clouds.
He's like,
I react as I need to. I don't know which reaction you're referring to.
Oh,
I understand what you mean.
I'm not the same. I definitely, like I said earlier, probably eventually would like to find a partner that wants to move through reality with me. But, you know, whenever.
How does that look for you?
It looks like a marriage.
like,
Such reaction.
It
looks like.
I tried to be dramatic.
Oh yeah, it looks like. It doesn't have to be a marriage. I don't need it on paper, you know what I mean? But but I still want to be free. So, you know, that's the special case scenario, you know?
Yeah.
So where is the compromising coming from? Because say you're telling me you going to Dallas to see boo number 3 and boo number 2, or 3 wants you to attend a family or holiday function. How do you prioritize that?
So priority is whoever got on the calendar first. That's it. That's how it works.
That's how it works for me too.
If Johnny came to me first and said, me too, I have this family event that I need you to attend with me. I would love for you to attend with me on January 1st. Okay, that's fine.
Jamar, are you okay?
I look at my calendar.
Because there's too many, there's like, that question is too ambiguous because there's too many other factors that go in. Because if Johnny and Joey ain't showing up the same way, they should not have the same.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's true.
Preservedness, you know what I'm saying? So it really makes a difference how people are showing up in your life.
That is true.
What priority is given, and also maybe time should have a factor in that, because maybe they, you know, showed up to more of your family events and this is the first time they asked you to do one. It doesn't matter if it was last minute and you already got something going on with over here. You should be showing up for this person because that's, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of.
For me though,
I don't think it's that cut and dry.
I agree with
where
you,
the
Mark.
complication is going to come in at.
Most of the time for me though, it's the first come first serve for me, because when I commit to somebody, my yes is a yes all the way through. If I don't show up after saying yes, something happened. Like I died or something.
Not I
I'm
died.
just, I'm just saying, like if I say yes to you, Jamar, I'm gonna come to this event with you. And then Sky, even though I am very close to Sky, and she comes, it's last minute. It's like, oh yeah, can you do this for me, or can you do this with me? I'm like, I'm sorry, I already have a prior engagement with Jamar. Now, depending on how it is, I don't like to do that. Depending on the urgency of Sky's demand, I may ask, hey Jamar, something came up that might be urgent, not more important, more urgent. Would you mind if I did that instead? But typically, I don't even like doing that because the person feels kind of like, oh, so you're just throwing me away for something more important. We can't help but to feel that because that's just the feeling that it's going to be. So to me, usually it's first come, first serve. If you ask me first to do this for you, to show up for you, and I said yes, I will show up for you. And Sky came, hey, I need you to show up for me. And I'm going to be like, I'm sorry, I have a prior engagement. That's it.
Yeah. For me, if it's basic dating, if it's basic dating, like basic dating 101, then it's whoever calls first. But when you start have established relationships, then it looks different.
Yeah. It's never going to be that cut and dry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it is cut and dry.
If you treat it that cut and dry, you're going to end up cutting yourself dry.
I'm not saying it's not cut and dry. 90% of the time, though, it's gonna be like that. Like, because, like I said, when I give a yes to somebody, typically they can count on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I say yes to something, I'm gonna see it through. But again, that's a 10% margin. It's kind of like, okay, let's see if we can rearrange this if there's a priority, not priority, but more of an urgency.
I see none of the obstacles in your future because you're juggling 8.
I don't have the 8 yet, Jamar. I'm saying I'm working on it. I don't have the 8 yet. You know.
So Novia could remember this little problem I had once. I was actually living with one of my partners and dating other people like regularly. And he was like, you never make time for me. And I was like, you never ask me out. Like, how do you expect, why don't you say on Monday to keep Friday available? Because, you're not doing that. Novia was right there when that happened, actually.
Sky, you see what your friend just typed, right?
Okay, where are we here? Novia's on in the.
Oh, sorry.
Down.
Hold on. Let's go through the first ones. Not the importance of the matter. I wish someone would
cancel on me because their other boo want to be a crybaby because he's coming to see me. There will be an important family poly meeting. Wow.
Because she wants to be the.
I'm territorial. I'm territorial. It's a no canceling on me. Damn it.
I don't know. Like, what is this? Oh, it's the same.
Yeah, but like I told him, like, you don't even ask me to go out. Like, you just expect that we live together. You get prioritized. And I was like, yeah, no,
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works. You need to, like, put me on the calendar.
But like you said, Jamar, I'm not disagreeing with you because it depends on who shows up how. Because let's say, for example, one of my long distance partners, right? I haven't seen him in like, let's say 3-4 months. And all of a sudden it's like a last minute window. Hey, our schedule is syncing. It's perfect. Can we make this happen? I mean, you best believe if I had a commitment with one of the local partners, I'm going to be like, hey, can we revisit this? Because this is what needs to be prioritized right now because I don't even know when I'm going to see this person again. So, yes, there's that margin.
The person that put in the least amount of work gets prioritized over the person that's been 10 toes down and available and
Who's
But
saying
you should be
this person-
understanding.
just because this person is local doesn't mean that they have a stronger connection. Because again, this person that's long distance, I may have a deeper relationship with than the person who's here. I've experienced that. I've experienced that where a long distance I was closer to than the person who was local. So I mean, it happens. I don't think it's a matter of distance, proximity. It's more like the connection that is already established with that person.
so if that connection is more desirable, why aren't you pursuing being around that connection more than the ones that are less?
It's not necessarily more desirable. Everything is desirable,
You just
but
said it.
the circumstances may be different. The circumstances may be different. Let's say that person has
Lives
to work
in
overseas,
Los Angeles.
right? Or yeah, you live in Los Angeles, Jamar, and your work keeps you there. You can't move around that much. I have a business here that is a physical business. I can't take time off all like that. I have younger children, blah blah blah. So our schedules are not always in sync, but we stay very tightly connected, right? So who's to say that our relationship is not super tight just because we have so many miles in between us? Now, this weekend, it's like, oh, work so happened that it's not going to be busy. I can't travel necessarily, but if you come to me, it would be great. And I'm like, oh, let me look at my calendar. Oh my God, yes, I'm actually off this weekend at work. I don't have that much going on. Let me just hop on a plane and come meet you for 2 days. If I had a dinner date with Johnny here and Johnny lives here, and I'm like, hey, Johnny, I know we have this dinner date. I will make it up to you. Let's meet on this other day or whatever, but I have to take this trip. Depending on the kind of openness that I have with Johnny, I may say, so and so became available, and you know how it's long distance, blah, blah, blah. I need to go meet them. Or if Johnny said, don't ask, don't tell, I just tell him something came up. I have to handle this. And that's pretty much how it's going to work. And I'm going to come to Jamar. Jamar, I get to see you for 2 days because I don't know if I'm not going to see you for the next 6 months.
You don't find understanding in that?
I hear what you're saying. It sounds amazing. In my experience, it doesn't work like that.
It's always worked for me so far. So far, I've not had any issues. But like I said, I think it depends on the connection that you have with each person.
Are all of the partners in this dynamic competing for attention, effort? I have an answer for that.
All right.
I think my answer for that would be, this is what's funny.
The comments.
Oh, I didn't read it yet. Is everyone competing for attention or effort? I think more so it is the ability to have different experiences.
Yes.
And so, when you rewind the movie in your name, you want to enjoy. Jamar,
What I do? I'm listening.
I'm looking at your body language. It's the ability to have experiences, period. You enjoy.
Everybody just wants to be single and nobody wants to be married. Because all of this talk
Is marriage the goal
talk.
for everybody?
Is that the final goal?
Is that the
It's all
goal?
single talk. It's like you want to be single and have experiences. And then once you're done having all these experiences, you want to find somebody that wants to commit to you post all these experiences.
See, this is like coming from a monogamous point
I never
of
said
view.
that. I never said
No,
that.
you said no. When you said earlier, eventually I want to settle down in something, and it looks sort of like.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
clarify it. I
Okay.
am seeking a primary right now. Like when I say eventually, it means when I meet that person.
Okay.
So it is like right now happening. So I'm not waiting till I'm 70 and dry as leather.
What is every person that gets access to you in that journey and toward that process in the meantime? What do you consider that?
Say the first part.
What do you consider every person that you are connecting with while you're on that journey to find that one?
a plethora of things, from a friend, lover, friend, etc., partner. Yeah.
And do you not think that in some way or shape inhibits you from finding that one because you're taking time and spending it on something that's not quite meeting the exact needs you want, but it's an experience?
No, because I would rather that person to manifest organically and relationship to develop organically. I don't necessarily need to meet someone and be like, let me see. Nope. Sure. I'm not doing a checklist on everyone I meet. If I meet someone, we get along, we're cool, we establish what we're established, then it's all good. It could develop into what I'm looking for. It might not. But I'm not going to, I can tell on a 5-minute phone call whether or not I want to engage with a person or not. Period. Whether it's worth my time.
Well, how long are you interacting with a person before you decide if they fit the criteria that you just stated, though?
The primary partnership, or
I
can almost know almost immediately.
So if you know immediately that they don't fit what you're looking for your primary, you still entertain them for non-primary just because?
I mean, I don't really have a roster that big, not that big, but I do have friends that I enjoy. Let's put it that way.
For the little pieces that they fit.
You're diminishing.
No. I'm
the value of a whole human being who brings joy.
I'm trying to understand what it is that you are stating.
Okay, so first of all, the fact that I'm poly means I can have multiple partners and a primary. I'm not going to start crossing people off because they don't fit the primary, because the primary is a goal, but I also want to have my other partners. Anyway.
I see you, Jackie.
Here's the thing.
Wait a minute. Wait. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you have different kind of friendships in your life, right? You have some friends that you can just go like, hey man, this and that, blah blah blah, or whatever. If it could be a woman for you, that you could just like lay it all out with that person. Like, this is your person that you can go to for whatever reason, right? And then you have other you have other friendships too that you are close to, but things are just not the way it is with this other person. So I feel like it's kind of like that with relationships. And sometimes, and again, time doesn't mean level of importance, right? Because sometimes you meet somebody and within a year or two, you develop some kind of connection that's like deeper than somebody that you've known for 15 years. So it really depends on your connection with that person. So you can decide, or whatever your connection is with that person. Because a lot of times when we have that checklist, we overlook a lot of red flags, that we should be paying attention to. So I feel like organically is the ideal thing. You don't want to force anything. Just kind of like friendships. Everything is something, and relationships is the same way. It's just you have the sex factor most of the time that's going to come into play. That's it.
All right. Jackie, at this point, everyone's doing whatever they want so far as relationships or whatever. LOL. I got a name for it, and it ain't poly. LOL. It starts with an S, though. LOL. Dare I say it? Selfish. Or self-centered. I don't think so. I don't agree with that.
But a lot of times you kind of have to be selfish to take care of yourself. So.
All right, then there's some inside conversation here between Novia and Jackie. And is this open or poly, or is there a difference? I thought poly was more cohesive and stable, seeking understanding. Okay. Do you want me to take?
You go ahead.
Okay. So an open relationship is usually a relationship where the partners agree that they can have other sexual partners. That's what an open relationship is. Polyamory is a relationship where you can have multiple lovers, multiple relationships, and it doesn't have to be sexual. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. So, just like Sky said, usually an open relationship only involves sex, and somebody's going to flip out if any emotional connection comes to play.
Mm-hmm.
So, when it's open relationship, there is no emotional, it's all sexual. And the other partner has to approve. You got to have your stamp put on it. In polyamorous relationship, usually,
Sometimes.
yeah, it's typically pretty open. I mean, it has the open side of it, but everybody has autonomy and you have agreements, and it could be either emotional or just sexual or both. It doesn't have to exclude anything. So that's pretty much what I feel like I could add to it.
Hopefully that answers your question. And Novia says, bingo at K Coleman, I need to feel like we're going somewhere because I'm not here for a fun time. I want to build something special.
And it's fine too. A lot of people are looking for that, and you can find that inside or outside of polyamory. It's just make sure that that person is on the same wavelength as you.
So for you guys, what is the benefit of being poly? Personally, what is your personal benefit to being poly?
For me, it's maintaining my autonomy while just experiencing beautiful relationships.
What are you building? Or what is the overall goal? Just to have the openness to be able to interact as you feel freely, and that's it? Or is there some other underlying benefits just besides the interaction options?
I can tell you that marriage is not my ultimate goal because I don't want to be married again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to cohabitate with anybody. So, because I know that's typically the main goals that people are seeking in building relationships. Relationships to me don't have to end up there. So it's just as long as I can still love
you want
you,
to keep your dominance in the relationship.
not dominance,
Freedom.
my autonomy.
Is freedom a good word?
Freedom, autonomy, being able to live how I want to live. Like you're not restricted.
When I say dominance, I mean control. You
Like
want to
control of what?
because
Myself.
which is you want to be the dominant person in your relationship, meaning you have the ability to make the decision for yourself. Like you say that anatomy, or however you said that, autonomy,
yes.
autonomy for yourself, and you don't want to be submissive to another person.
Not necessarily not submissive, because what are we talking about? It depends on the level of submission, and why do we need to be submissive to anybody? Like, as long as I have my autonomy, don't hold me back, because it's kind of like,
people steer a car.
What's that?
Can two people steer a car at the same time?
What do you mean?
Oh boy.
Can two people steer a car at the same time? If you put a steering wheel on both sides, can both of you guys steer the car at the same time?
If there's two cars, yeah.
No. If there's you're in the same car.
Well, this is not it. We each, we're each in a different car. We're just on the same road. That's it. We're just going in the same direction.
Listening to a different song, getting off at a different exit.
No, I'm just saying.
I don't know.
We're each the driver of our car, which is our life. I'm the driver of my life. You're the driver of your life. And we're on the same road, heading the same direction.
I understand. So we're on the same road, headed the same direction. I decide to get off at this exit.
Enjoy.
Do you follow me or do you keep going?
It depends on the situation. Some situations I will follow you, and some situations you may have to follow me. We just have to decide
the direction y'all are going.
Yeah. And when each person needs to take the lead on something. I'm not opposed to following somebody because I don't know everything.
But see, this is where it gets complicated because there's 8 cars in 9. in your situation. Your goal is to have 9 cars right
Right.
now. So if all 9 of those cars don't follow one person, or even if y'all want to take turns leapfrogging and one person runs out of gas at a certain time, if everybody don't stop, then that person's going to get left behind.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? So at some point
somebody
there has
needs
to
to
be some
stop.
type of
And that's why
agreement
you
or
have the communication. Hey, guys, I'm out of gas. But before we get on the road, guess what we do? We make sure that everybody has a full tank before we get on the road.
And
But
who's
if you
responsible for
do
making sure
what,
those tanks are full and that everybody has a full tank? If everybody's
any
on the
Everybody,
same
one
thing
of
everybody
us,
who's
themselves.
driving is responsible for their own vehicle.
right? But any one of us
But
too
you just
is
said
gonna
something
make
different.
sure. Any one of us is gonna make sure. Hey, are you good? Is your tank full? Yes, I'm good. Okay, is your tank full? Okay, let's get going. Now, also, you have that
Now,
call, that phone that's like, hey, I am available if you need me. If I need to make a U-turn, I will make that U-turn for you. Okay, because obviously, if we did all the right thing, if we all filled up our
are all
gas,
those cars headed to the same destination?
same destination.
How do we know they're headed all to the same destination?
Because we had that conversation. This is where
All
we're
all
going.
9 people had a group conversation about the destination, or is this individual conversations? We hope
It could
we
be
all going the
individual.
same
It
way.
could be individual conversations, and it could be a group conversation depending on your dynamic. For me, it is individual uh, conversations. It's like, hey, Jamar, I'm going to Lawrenceville. I'm gonna take 20 to get there. I don't know what you're choosing to take. I don't know if you're gonna take 85 or 985 or 400. If you take 400, it may take you longer, but you're going to get there at some point. I feel like for me, the best way to get there is to take 20. So meet me there. This is when I'm going to be there. And I say, Sky, this is where I'm going to be. I'm going to be in Lawrenceville. I'm going to take 20. I give you the same information that I give everybody. And you meet me whenever it is possible for you, whenever it is convenient for you. You don't have to take the same route that I'm taking because you may want to stop at Quick Trip, but because there's no Quick Trip on 20, there's only Racetrack. So it depends. So you have the freedom to go at your own pace. I'm not a long
Are
distance
you going to
driver.
wait around until I get there and I'm taking
Yes,
my own space?
because I told you that's where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna
Okay.
be there waiting for you. You can get there now.
I have a question.
If I decide to go to Atlanta at some point, I'm gonna let you know, hey, I was waiting for you and I decided to go to Atlanta at this point. So you're not here yet. I was expecting you to be here at this point, but you're not. This is where I'm headed. So I don't know what you can communicate to me what you want to do at this point. You have the ability to communicate to me what you feel like that, I'm tired. I think I'm just gonna stay in Lawrenceville for now. And then I'll see tomorrow when I wake up what kind of mood I'm in to meet you in Atlanta or not. It like you have that autonomy to decide for your person because a lot of times we put so much pressure on people to do what we want them to do at the pace that we want them to go at. It's not always feasible. So I feel like for me, that's the best part of polyamory.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned the word submissive. For some reason, I think that when you hear
That
about
did
women,
come out my mouth.
say it again. What was that? Anyway, I don't see why a woman couldn't submit to a man polyamorously. I do it all the time. That's my natural way of carrying myself, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I lost you for a second. Went out for a second. So
I said I'm naturally submissive. So that is the way I carry myself in all of my relationships. What are the boundaries or parameters in your relationships or your commitment to one another? Clear communication, transparency.
I am always 100%, 200% transparent in my moves, what I'm doing, where I'm going. Some people are information as needed. Don't volunteer shit until I ask you, and I abide to that. And some people, they want to know up front. You ask what you want to know, and I will answer whatever you ask me. That's pretty much it for me. Now the question is, what are you comfortable knowing? You know. So I'm always open with my partners. Ask what you want to know, and I will tell you what it is.
What about you, Jamar? What are your boundaries or parameters in your
What's the question?
relationships? What are the boundaries or
I think I
parameters?
already stated it in my relationships.
Yeah. Boundaries?
It's as I stated before. I expect everybody to be an adult. I'm not going to be anybody's villain, or a hero. Honestly, I'm going to show up as myself and fit in where I fit and vibrate on the frequencies of those that I vibrate with. And once those frequencies, don't match up, they fall as they should. But
Yeah,
You're out.
those are the only boundaries.
Okay. You heard what I said about submissiveness, right?
That you are submissive in your relationship.
Naturally, yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it is, but it's not a big deal either. I think a lot of people put a lot of value on
right.
it. There's a lot of value put on it, but it's just a way of being.
Yeah.
I like,
Especially now,
I
the
like
Kevin
peace.
Samuels culture is very like, oh,
Whoa,
submissive.
whoa.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about it's like this
Kevin
era.
Samuels culture. We gonna
It's a
blame
Kevin
the culture.
Samuels culture.
Kevin didn't create the culture. He just shined a light on it, though.
What I'm saying is, I am like that naturally, so I don't have an issue with it. I know that not every woman is like that, but I was raised that way, and I have no issue. It's my natural order, whether I'm polyamorous or monogamous. I don't think every woman is naturally submissive. You can learn to be, but I know some women like take offense to having to do certain things. But that's that, and that and then I see some men like it has to match. It just has to match. Some men like it and want it and require it. Some men don't need it. They're just fine with one be like, hey, can you do this? Blah, blah, blah. There's just like a different like role. And you just got to match the right people to the right circumstances and values. That's really all it is. 100%. Not all women have to be that way. Not all men receive it, So that's the way I look at it.
Oh my God, we've been going for almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to end this
I started eating my sandwich. I was like, y'all had me for the first hour and a half. And then
I know. Like sometimes the conversations just keep flowing and we don't even pay attention to the time. Typically, we try to cut it out 1 hour.
Really? But
so we just go with the flow.
One thing I want to clear up, I guess, from this part of the conversation that I felt a little tense is it doesn't look like it needs to look for anybody. Like I think Jackie made a comment about it being selfish and a free-for-all. Yeah, it comes off as like you could just do whatever the hell you want to or what have you. That's what solo polyamory is. That's the definition of what it is. You are your own agent.
Yeah, but you don't do it.
And
there's a lot of
fiction. How does that differ from ethical non-monogamy though?
It's not. So polyamory is just a little section under the umbrella of non-monogamy. Does that make sense? So it's a section of non-monogamy. So it's not,
Yeah, it's a lot of terminology and whatever. That's fine. And there's different ways that people navigate. Like, for example, like when people might find solo polyamory to not be appealing to them, I find polygamy to be super unappealing.
Very,
very horrible. So, everyone has like a different feel about things. When I see a man saying, oh, I have a girlfriend and I'm looking for a third to meet. I don't like that. That is demeaning to me.
Can y'all pull up Mrs. Jackie comment, please? I would love for you to address that.
Jackie says, y'all ever heard of unfamiliar spirits? And do any of you know the etymology of poly or where it is even derived from? Only asking because we love jumping on things with no research. Can anyone answer?
I mean, for me, it's just in the definition of the word, like many loves. But a lot of people are into spirituality. We all have different things that we believe in, right? Some people believe in Pentecostal Catholicism and spirituality and this and that. Some people believe like if you sleep with somebody, their spirits, inhabitate your body and this and that. I mean, it's honestly, it depends on your belief. All that I feel like falls under religion and different beliefs. Again, I don't know, but so, I feel like this question probably may be coming from like, oh, you just like sleeping around
and doing whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, if that's what somebody chooses to do, that's
and a lot of people are miserable in their marriage.
Believe in that.
But yeah, when we look at the origin of polyamory, it comes out of polygamous relationships in Africa. Some of them were matriarchal, some of them were patriarchal. And that's kind of like they're in India, they're in all of the third world countries of the world had some sort of multiple love type relationships going on. This way of doing it, the polyamorous modern, is way modern because we're out of the thought process of a patriarchal, matriarchal society when we are very much an individual in how we carry it. That's how I see it. There's no actual that I have seen, there's no actual history except when you look at our sexuality as humans and the fact that we are actually more promiscuous than we claim to be by nature. So, religion has put these things on us to cool that down. You know what I'm saying? So, the unfamiliar spirits, to me, that goes into that weird religious place that I don't want to jump into. So, but we love jumping on things with no research. I definitely read about polyamory all the time, and my book collection speaks to that. So, any comments, Jamar, on that?
The books that you are reading refer to the origins of it, or just the perspective of what they're turning into? Because when you get to the origins of it, didn't have all these subcategories. Like when
there's only one book that
it had, you know what I'm saying, a specific purpose.
Yeah. There's only one book that I'm familiar with that talks about the origins of multiple sexual partners, which is Sex at Dawn. And it goes into the early humans and how, we weren't really put in familial groups. We were very much,
communal.
Yeah, and doing everyone and however, I don't know exactly the exact format of how it was done, but that's the only book that I'm familiar with. And of course it was written and researched by a white man. So it is what it is. Any book recommendations? So we got Ethical Slut. We have More Than One. We have Polysecure.
More Than Two.
Jackie asked the question. Jackie should give us some book recommendations or some sources for the information of what she's referring to.
Yeah, Jackie, you are very much invested in this conversation. We really appreciate you.
But type in your recommendations.
What is your position on polyamory? Since this is an interesting topic for you, would love to hear before we go because we're at the 2-hour mark. So
I know. I've read so many books. I have so many in my
Love in Abundance is another one I really liked, and it talks a good bit about time management, which is
the polyamorous next door.
Then all of Kenya K. Stevens' books and her husband. I have Up-Level Communication. I got that one recently.
This one that Polysecure. Polysecure is not for everybody. It's a very psychological book. So you need patience to go through it. And it's not just like the plain reading. You need to sit on it for a minute and think about it.
The Jealousy Workbook? Is it the Jealousy Handbook or Workbook?
Yeah.
It's a book that you actually can write notes in so that you and your partners, whoever, yourself, work out the way you feel about jealousy. Because that's a lot of that having multiple partners thing.
Let me ask you a question, Sky. If you had a female friend that was interested in getting into the lifestyle, but she said, like what I say, 85% of the women say to me, they don't want to share. What would you tell her?
What would I tell
He
her?
asked
She
you.
doesn't. I don't know why she would want to get in the lifestyle. She doesn't want to share.
So
Like,
first of all,
I don't understand. Like, if you have a problem with being with your partner, being with multiple people,
yeah.
then this is not this. You got to work on you for a while, because if that bothers you, then you're not interested.
It's
You're really
not
not
for you.
interested.
And again, people think that everybody should be doing that. But it's not for everybody, right? Just like, we have different religions, we have different groups of people. Polyamory is not for everybody. Some people are truly 100% monogamous. Now, sharing, when we use that word, let's say I choose to share myself with all my partners. They're not sharing with anybody. This is my decision to share myself with you guys. I choose who I share myself with. So the fact, again, just like earlier in the comments, I can't remember who made that comment, but a lot of times when you say, I'm not sharing, you're already sharing without even knowing. Because if we look at the stuff that's out there, most people who come on social media claiming they got some kind of STD from somebody, it's usually in monogamous relationship. You didn't know you were sharing, but honey, you were sharing. So the fact that people are like, oh, I don't like sharing, I'm not sharing, it's not your decision. It's that other person's decision. It's my decision to share myself with whomever I choose to. I make you aware of my decision to share myself with other people. And if you like it, you can stay. If you don't, you can exit. That's pretty much it.
Stage left.
Well, when you say it like that, that's a great place to end the show.
Yeah. Thank you, Jamar. This was really deep. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Kay Coleman, Novia, Damon,
everybody who jumped on here.
Joined
Thank you for joining us. We love having you guys. Just as always, remember, if you want a specific topic to be debated and talked about, we don't know it all. We're all just having a conversation. This is not, we know some stuff about polyamory. We're not trying to be the educator, but we are the educator. But we're here for a conversation. The goal of this podcast is to be able to have an open conversation.
That looks good.
Oh my God!
What are we eating here?
He did not want to share his dinner.
Don't worry about it.
Why did you want to share with us?
What are we eating? That sandwich looks good right now.
Yeah.
But remember to follow us on social media. Like on Facebook, follow on Instagram, subscribe.
English.
I know. I keep going to the French part. Subscribe on YouTube. Right?
YouTube,
and
Facebook, Instagram.
We are also writing a book about polyamory coming from a Caribbean woman's point of view. So if you want to support us, you can also cash out the Poly Pimps.
Oh yeah, I forgot that part.
Yes. And we are here every other Thursday for now, because we change the days as we see fit. So if you have something you want to talk about, shoot us an email, a message on Instagram,
DM.
Or
drop in the DMs.
Yeah, the DMs.
So
thank you guys for joining us.
I think I have one more thing to tell Jamar. Well, thank you, Jamar.
Thank you guys for having me. Wait, so everybody knows, how many spots do you have left? You how many? You got 6 spots?
I can't say. Jamar, if you just want to put in your application, go ahead and then I'll let you know if there's an open slot.
You know what? Let me check with my partners and see if
very nice. Very nice. Bring them all to the dinner. Very cool.
That part, yes. I can't say what availability I have. But thank you for joining us. It was so nice meeting you tonight. We truly enjoyed this conversation, and we hope it won't be the last.
Hey, just let me know if you need me back.
All right. Absolutely. You guys have a great night, and see you in 2 weeks.
Peace, y'all. Later. Bye.